Alright, so this is my second video on the Mustang crawler starter to turn to Phoenix that I've been brewing. And I am a Typhoon specialist, so I actually ended up just playing more Typhoons than Mustangs later on. But my opponent is a Quick Supply, and they are going to be doing like some carry sledgehammer gameplay. I was pretty concerned that they have armor, and they were going to get that, because I'm going to be getting Typhoons and Mustangs, and they might get stuck on that, but they didn't get armor this game, but I was concerned about that. Quick deploy, speed it up. Oh, and so for my opener, I always get one arc light, and I have 4 crawlers. So it's kind of like I do the same thing every time. I prefer the left side because people deploy there last, and I prefer not to headbutt. I like how the stings are fast and can get to the tower, and that they split open. Since they're a whole pack of units, it just takes a few of them to target the tower. I get the haste module because it's pretty good. It's a really strong 40% increase in attack, and it doesn't cost anything early on. That's pretty nice. What's key here is that I don't even need the 70%. It would just be overkilling. When I put this on this guy here, he now does 4,000. He can now, each one can now one-shot the sledgehammer. That's great. But you know, it's also important to skip some items too, because they're too expensive and they won't really allow you to get the turn 2 Phoenix. In this situation, it may have even been better for me to skip this item and just get 2 Phoenixes, because you can see he's going pretty hard on sledgehammers and he has low chaff. And he's playing the standard, well, yeah, standard, you know, carry sledgehammer, which is to get mech rage on round 3, which is what he does. Kind of important here is I've even though I start on async, I never upgrade my towers anymore. I've found that it's actually a waste economically, because the game never stays that way. Anyway, so I start to actually branch out. This crawler here is kind of weird. You think like, oh no, it's just going to feed, and it's like a turn. Set it up for turn 2 now, but it'll be way more important turn 3 and later, when I can jump drive the Phoenixes and just put some more stuff on the right side, which is exactly what happens in this game. Because I don't think I'm going to get very far if I just keep piling up on the left side, because he will eventually start popping my tower and playing aggro. So I want to stay playing aggro. I don't want to end up defensive. And I missile this because I noticed this was his highest level EXP. This one had the most EXP, so I don't want these to gain levels at all. It's really bad news. So that's pretty worth it to put that one missile down. I think it's worth it. Although you don't have to, because it does delay them from getting to the tower, but it's still probably worth it. Denying the EXP is a pretty important reason on why to missile. It's not so much just to win the round, it's to slow down their tempo from gaining level. And it allows me to gain levels too. So he picked the tarantula, and I picked the fangs. That made the most sense to me. Absolutely made the most sense. That's just amazing. 4 fangs. That's a lot of chaff, and it allows me to branch out onto the right side, which is very important. One of the biggest things I look for because I start async in a card drop is, does this allow me to open up a whole new front? That's going to be big. And also, you know, does this counter the other one that he's going to pick? You know, will he pick Wasp? Well, this will kind of, yeah, that'll kind of pretty much counter the Wasp. Yeah. That's just the best one for me to pick. He may not have wanted to pick it because I've got Mustangs, and that kind of counters that. Does that make sense? He's getting the Mech Rage on turn 3. For him to pay 300 to get the Mech Rage, that denies him some stuff, though. Like, he still could do one more deploy. He's running a little low on chaff. No, he's got 100. He can pay for something. Also, what's great about the turn 2 Phoenix is it really prevents him from going really, really hard on the carry sledge, because after this, his next move would be to get the range enhancement, you know, or the armor, because I have Mustangs. But now he has to eventually acknowledge the air presence. So I've opened up my right side as well, which is doing okay. And he's really piling on the left side, right? But I'm starting to catch up more on the right side than he is. So now my right side on the next turn will be even stronger. More stronger than his. His will catch up to. That is kind of scary, seeing all these sledgehammers. But I think that the Phoenix does a pretty good job of cleaning them up. You get 2 of them. It's just that they don't one-shot, but killing one every 3 seconds is not bad. So here's where so I love Jump Drive Phoenix. It's so freaking strong. Like, you can see, I don't want this guy to die in the orbital barrage, so I'm jump driving him to safety. Plus, I'm now stacking the right side more than he can prepare for. I've moved, what, 300 worth of credits, but if you think about it, it's really more like, this unit probably is worth like 500 in credits, if you think about it, with the item, maybe even 600. So I've moved about 600 worth of supplies from the left side to the right side, prevented it from dying, and now I'm pushing the right side, which is not as well defended. Well, actually, he's balanced it out. He's got about the same amount of chaff on there. He sold that tarantula. He's got a pretty symmetrical board now, which is pretty interesting. Although these have more levels, that is one difference. And the orbital bombardments are hitting on the left side. So really, this is interesting. And I got my Typhoon as a unit drop, another great way to switch to the other side of the board. It really makes, yeah, Typhoon Specialist is one of the strongest for a number of reasons. He spent a lot on shields, so that's probably going to slow him down. This one in the middle here may not have been needed. I spent only 100 on this side here, because I kind of just know, I guess. That's kind of interesting too. He knows I'm now pivoting left and right, which is kind of making it more expensive for him to defend, because it's like he invested a lot in shields because he doesn't know where the attack's coming from. Is it the left side or the right side? So it makes it hard for him to defend. And then what I start to do later is I start to mobile beacon my forces, which are kind of balanced too, to then pile onto the right or left tower. It's hard to predict, right? And if I can get 2 mobile beacons, I can move almost like my entire army to 1 tower. Which kind of suggests that the mobile beacon card drop can actually be kind of broken. A lot of times people don't pick it because it just looks like you're not really getting anything special, because it's like I could just buy it for the same price. You know, the thing of that card drop is that you're getting 2 mobile beacons, which is kind of broken. We both pick the Rhino, which is kind of interesting. I feel like he's a standard kind of player, even though he's doing this carry sledge. It's like a hybrid between standard and his playstyle seems like a hybrid between standard positioning, but plays a somewhat aggressive standard, which is carry sledge, and probably try to pop the tower and do like a deep flank. If he goes up against someone who's playing standard, but he can't really do that against aggro. And you know, a jump drive Phoenix is just so freaking strong. Like I'm going to move this guy out of here, but he has to prepare for it by putting this here. It seems kind of broken, honestly, to me. It's not broken like, oh wow, it's killing so much stuff, it's so obvious, but it's like under the hood is kind of broken. Like if you look at the game stat, if they could look at the game stats and be like, wow, Jump Drive Phoenix is performing pretty well, they might notice that and increase the price. Because they did do that for Wasp. They changed it from 50 to 100, but I still think, I don't know. I don't have much experience with Wasp Jump Drive. I feel like Phoenix is much stronger because Wasps run in and they're easier to defend. As long as you have Mustangs or Typhoons, they eventually have to sell it. But the only way to really stop this is to start spamming forts and give them anti-air barrage. That's the only time I've had this shut down. So that went by kind of fast. But yeah, basically the Rhinos, I put them in the center, I mobile beacon them. I can get a worm drop too. That's just kind of my style. Yeah. So this has really turned more into... See, I was going to get the nuke, but I'm like, nah, I don't want it. Nothing really good to orbital jav, and I get the nano repair kit. I kind of know that he's going to nuke this side here because I'm pushing here and I've got a lot of stuff here, right? But actually kind of decent on this side too, so I then jump drive my Phoenixes over to the left, and then, you know, this is why I put the Rhinos more in the center. I got 2 here, so I knew this one could go to the left tower. It's suggestive, it looks like I'm going to go to the right tower, but I can still mobile beacon this guy here to the left tower, which is what I do. I think this is the last round, yep. Give them barrier just because it's strong. I've got a nice strong frontline tank. The sledgehammers are an interesting unit. They can clear chaff. They're a really neat all-rounder, but I think they will be just a little bit challenged by the HP from the Typhoons and their bubble, which is 16,000 total. But I didn't know that he was going to get these ranged balls, though. That's interesting. They did counter the Rhino. But that's what I like about playing aggressive. As long as you're the aggressor, you're kind of forcing them to create these reactive plays, which keeps you one step ahead. And then I got the HE on my Mustangs just to get a little bit more. It's only 150, and I get just a little bit more chaff clear. And level 2 Stangs with HE is like having 4. They clear as fast, actually a little faster and better than 4 arc lights, and they move in real fast, which is nice. And they act as chaff, so that's pretty cool too. And I put the fangs here to do some pulling to pull his units on the left out to open up the tower more. So that allowed the crawlers to move in and get the tower. Looks like that bubble protected the Typhoons just for a little bit. Not that it matters, it's just they're going to get destroyed. Yeah, Jump Drive Phoenix on turn 2. I mean, eventually you give him Jump Drive, but turn 2 Phoenix just seems kind of broken with the Jump Drive aggro. Nope, that's it.